Hey, what is up guys? So we got a very awesome straight out of the anime status duel today, and it's going to be two decks that I think that a lot of players will be excited to see because I think they're probably, fan favorite cards and no one really wants to try them out. But anyways, it's going to be between Perfomapals or the Intermates, and it's going to be facing off against Cloudian. And this is, like I said, some straight up anime status, duel status here. But anyways, I'm going to kind of read what's going on as the duel is playing, because it is actually a really long duel. Surprisingly, the game doesn't end in like a few turns, kind of like how the meta is right now, and that's really cool. I love just seeing interesting things in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh that we normally just would never see because the game state is just too fast, and we just don't play some of these more unique cards. But anyways, the Perfomapals seem like they're oriented around changing the attack and defense of your opponent's stuff, or swapping them or moving them to defense position, doing a lot of little shenanigans. It almost reminds me of like the Ghost Tricks. They like to have this little interesting way to interact in the game, but it's probably just too slow for the game to actually make them viable. But anyways, this card, Turn Toad, is pretty cool. Once per turn, when it's in the Pendulum Zone, you can switch a card's current attack and defense until the end of the turn. Or, and then we have Intermate Whip Viper, which I think is a cool card. The Perfomapal Whip Snake is its name in the TCG. But anyways, once per turn during either player's main phase, you can target one face-up monster on the field, and you switch its current attack and defense until the end of this turn. And a lot of stuff in the game just has low defense, so like you can just like run over anything. That's like a Gale on your opponent's turn, which is really cool because it also has 1700 attack. Now the Cloudian player basically is just going to load up his field and the opponent's field with a bunch of fog counters. So fog counters, basically you have effects depending on how many counters are on board, or you remove like certain amount of counters to interact. Basically that's their, I guess, their utility. Like the more they have, obviously the better it is for them. But you're going to be placing fog counters on your opponent's board and your own, and then Turbulence is going to go ahead and just add more counters. And then he could special summon the Cloudian Smoke Ball from either player's graveyard. Not that that's going to be relevant at all during this duel, because unless you're playing against another Cloudian deck, that's not going to be viable. But here's, I don't know if this is their boss monster. I'm not a Cloudian expert here, but maybe I can get some of you guys' expert ideas. But anyways, Eye of the Typhoon over here. This card cannot be destroyed by battle while this card is in face-up defense position. Destroy it. When this card declares an attack, change the battle position of all face-up monsters except for Cloudian monsters. So basically, that's kind of cool because it's like, you know what, you have interaction to switch attack and defense, but this one makes it so when this card declares an attack, you change everything except for Cloudians. So that means if they're like trying to be on the defensive side, Cloudian Eye of Typhoon is going to be like, no, I'm going to get over you. And if they're too strong, usually they'll have, like, hopefully lower defense, unless we're talking about, like, Superior Dora, which has 4,000 defense. Like, this card's kind of cool. I mean, these are really old cards, guys. I know it's not going to be viable in this day and meta, but it's cool to see, like I said, these older things. And he's trying to, well, I think he was trying to go for a scale, but nonetheless, Stargazer Magician over here with that massive 24 defense. And I think there's a card that, like, made it so all special monsters lose a certain amount of attack. I think it's this one over here. So, if you special summon monsters while you control this card, all monsters your opponent controls lose 600 attack and defense, and that's a permanent effect. I thought that was kind of interesting, but again, it's pretty much irrelevant for the metagame. But during each of the standby phases, he's just loading up the counters. Look at this, 12 fog counters on Utopia. Then he's going to go ahead and activate the last minute cancellation over here. But because of that Eye of the Typhoon, it's going to remove things back. So that's kind of cool. This makes it so you're going to change everything. Well, as long as you control an attack position monster, change all monsters you control defense position, and then at the end of this turn, return any face-up perform monster you control that is destroyed by battle by card effect instead of sending to the graveyard. But nonetheless, the Eye of Typhoon is going to be like, no, bro, we're going to move you back. So he's going to go ahead and actually use the effect of Perfomapal Pendulum Wizard, and then his monster effect is that you can target up to 2 cards you control, destroy them, and if you do, you add an equal number of Perfomapal monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I want to see what the Perfomapals do, because I know that they're in the anime, and I want to know, maybe they'll make them viable eventually. Sometimes it just takes a while for some of these cards to get good, but that Eye of the Typhoon is so strong, man. It's going to move everything. And it's changed all battle positions of face-up monsters, so I think that is cool. It would be really awesome if it also made it so any face-down monster would be flipped up and then it would like not apply the effect or something like that. But look at the fog counters right here with 18 fog counters on here, and then we have Ghost Fog over here. And then when he is destroyed by battle, you distribute new fog counters equal to the level of the monster that destroyed it among face-up monsters. So I mean, he's just, like I said, loading up the fog counters over here. And he's going to go ahead and actually use Pendulum Wizard, and he's just going to try to cycle through his deck. I think that this is kind of cool because he's able to get free cards in the Pendulum Zone and just be like, I'm going to overextend. But the problem is he's got 2 of the Swift Scare cards. There's 1 unknown back row. He doesn't know what that card is yet. But that Utopia Man, with that 700 attack, 200 defense points. So good because the Intermate Swordfish or Perfomapals Swordfish. And then this card over here, guys. This is where the icing on the cake happens. This is where the anime stuff is happening right here. I'm going to pause it right here so I can read its effect because no one knows what that Cloudians are, right? Anyway, so this card cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card is in face-up defense position, destroy it. You can tribute any number of water monsters for the tribute summon of this card. When this card is tribute summoned, place 1 fog counter on it for each water monster you tributed. This card gains 500 attack for each fog counter on the field. And currently, there's 2 fog counters on this card, there's 2 on this card, there's 2 on here. We have 9 on the Cloudian Eye of the Typhoon, and then 24 on Utopia here. And he's going to have a 21,000 attack Cloudian. Wow, that, like I said, guys, only in the anime would you see something crazy like this. But I love seeing these amazing anime status duels. But thank you, Mr. Super Nesbit, for sending in this really sick replay. Man, shout outs to Cloudians. If you guys didn't know, actually, there was a Quasar Cloudian combo back in the day, but it doesn't work anymore. We needed the Fishborg, but nonetheless, pretty cool to see some straight up anime stuff. And like, you see how Perfomapals, they had so much of this little shenanigan advantage, but it didn't matter. I mean, there's just 21,000 attack was just too much for it. But it's kind of cool to see that, like, you can pop the cards and then you just, like, you know, have pendulums for days. But the problem with pendulums is, like, you know, if you exceed with them, when they get detached. But nonetheless, like I said, that was too cool, man. That 21,000 Cloudian. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Asian Eyes signing out.